everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Warism. This is a modded survival Minecraft series where we are preparing for battle, preparing for war against an enemy team. And today's episode, we are going to get so much done. The main focus of today's episode is going to be working on our trench map. If you guys don't remember, we're making sort of a PvP arena type dealio, and we're gonna just trying to be finishing it today. So there's going to be a lot of work to be done there, and I am quite excited. I do want to apologize, sorry for the delays between videos and everything like that. I have been so busy this summer and doing different stuff. I've been even in and out of the hospital and stuff like that, so it's been a little bit ridiculous, but hopefully we can start pumping out some fun little videos here. And we're just going to be working on the trench, and also I would enjoy working on some of the tunnels. But I was just getting some resources together while he's been helping me out a bunch. I'm just kidding, I never use this guy, I don't even know why I have him. But before this episode, I went out and I collected so much mud. And guys, this stuff is not fun to collect because you break it, and instead of giving you back the mud, which would be the logical thing to do, it gives you back these stupid little mud balls, and then you have to take these mud balls and craft them into the actual mud blocks. So it's sort of like snow with snowballs. So welcome back to the trench map. I know it really doesn't look like much of a map right now. It's sort of just a bunch of destroyed trenches and stuff like that. But I've been having some ideas. The first thing that we're gonna have to do is we're going to have to work on putting sort of a border around the outside of this sky, because at the moment there isn't really a border to the map. It sort of just goes on until it ends. Also, did we shoot, I'm trying to remember, how did I even get this thing to work? Like, what was the layout here? I think the enemy team was going, or one team was going to have these two trenches, and then the other team was going to have, there should be another trench somewhere. Did I lose a trench? Alright, well, I'm a little bit sad right now. I was thinking we were like really close to actually finishing this map, and we could call it a day and just add a few more details to it. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm seeing that like there's like a pond in the middle of the map for some reason. And I don't even find like the last trench that I was working on. I don't even remember what was going on. It's been way too long since the last episode. That's really unfortunate. But anyway, we're going to try our best here to complete it. Was this a bomb that I threw here? I think I threw a bomb here for some reason. Why did I do that? What was I even thinking? But we're gonna try to finish this guy up. I don't know, there is a lot to be done here, but hopefully we can work it out. So here's the plan anyway. Over here, we're having the trenches sort of curved to the side a little bit. And then I think we were planning on building another line of trenches back here, which means we're gonna have to clear out a lot more trees and shrubbery. A lot of trees and shrubbery. So I'll tell you guys what, we have another flint and steel here, and especially all this little junk on the ground. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? I already caught myself on fire. But all this shrubbery on the ground and everything, this little foliage over here and all this stuff, I was thinking about keeping it because it kind of makes the map look nice, but we're just outright getting rid of it, and that's just going to help this map sort of clear up, and then we can see what we have to work with. And then I'm not too crazy about this grass either. There's just grass everywhere. So the trenches are 100% going to have to be like all mud, and then there's also going to be trails of mud in the like the no man's land that we're building. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna get rid of all of this little foliage stuff like this, and then probably we'll get rid of some of these trees here. And really I just want this place to look barren, and it needs to look like a battle just took place. So we're gonna get rid of a lot more trees. I also think I want to extend the map a little bit, because currently it is pretty tiny. I don't think it's long enough. Granted, we don't have a whole lot of players that are going to be playing on it, but it would definitely be a little more fun if the map was a little bit more wider, and so that way you didn't always know exactly where the enemy was. However, I think this will be good. Also, the map, so I said each team's going to have 2 trenches, and then the main battle is going to take place in between these 2 trenches. So team 1 over here is going to have that set of trenches and this set of trenches, And then team 2 is going to have this set of trenches right here. And then also there's going to be a set of trenches right there. So we're going to have to get rid of all of this grassland. And we're sort of clearing out a lot here. So we're going to get rid of all of the grassland over there and all of this foliage. I'm also going to try to dig the trenches a little bit deeper, because at the moment they don't even really look like trenches. Well, this one's sort of deep enough, but definitely a lot of the other trenches we just had as little placeholders like this guy. Definitely not deep enough. And we kind of want to get rid of this grass, huh? All right, well, a lot of work to be done. I was hoping that this map was almost completed, or at least wouldn't take too long, because it's just a bunch of trenches, right? So 2 pickaxes and 3 flint and steels later, and this is what we're sort of left with. This map is starting to actually look like something. I didn't work on this side at all, but this side is what I've been working on. We're definitely gonna have to polish up a whole bunch of this foliage and sort of get all those leaves out of there. Definitely extend the trenches a bunch. But over here, I'm really proud of how these trenches are starting to look. There's also a few things I'm trying to keep in mind, and that is the fact of making this map not only pretty, but also the gameplay fairly enjoyable as well. So I'm doing my best to sort of keep both team sides as even as possible. I know it's going to be pretty hard, especially when I have like no experience in Minecraft map making, but hopefully this map will be somewhat enjoyable to play, or at least it'll just look nice and be a fun project to work on. Anyway, so allow me to show you guys what I did here. So here are the other 2 starting trenches that I dug out. So this is where one team is going to start, and then the other team is going to start all the way down there by those 2 far trenches that I'm sort of looking at right now. So when the game first starts, you know, this team is going to be easily able to take these 2 trenches right here, and then this team is going to be easily able to take over those 2 trenches right there, hopefully. I tried to do the spacing correctly, so that way maybe we might have to move those 2 trenches back a little bit, because there's definitely a bigger gap right here. Yeah, looking at that now. Okay, so we're gonna move those 2 trenches back at least 5 or 10 blocks in that direction, and then that way they will at least reach the middle at the same time, and then they'll sort of have their big battle between these 2 guys. Now you can see these trenches on this side aren't really dug in. I sort of just put a little marker there. We just dug out a little 2x2 marker area, but these trenches are almost the size that I kind of want them to be. I'm thinking about rolling with it 3 deep and about 2 to 3 long, at least for the size of the trenches. And what I'm really trying to do with gameplay here is I'm doing my best to avoid making the trenches a straight line, because if we make the trenches a straight line, all the enemy team has to do is sort of hop in here and go pow, and then you're dead. And like, what are you even gonna do? Okay, I think I have a sleeping bag somewhere. Boom, sleeping bag, OP dude. OP sleeping bag. Okay, but anyway, these are the size of the trenches that I'm going with, and we're going to be trying to make them windy, because if they're a straight line, all the enemy team has to do is wait for when you're not shooting at them, and then say pretend they're over in this trench over here. They're going to just be able to hop out, run at you, and then they can pretty much hop in like anywhere in the trench, and if it's just a straight line, boom, it's like an easy kill right on you. And then that won't really be any fun. So I'm trying to make the trenches windy and stuff, and then we can also have little pathways, like a pathway here, like leading over to a trench over on this side. And we can have a bunch of like rooms like underneath the trenches. I believe that's what they had. I don't know. I haven't done too much research on trenches. I guess I should. That'd be kind of fun. Because I could sort of add in like a whole bunch of like little rooms in there. Maybe like a, we could add like a little strategy room back in their base spawn. Also something that I wanted to do with gameplay is I wanted to make your home base trench. So for this team, it's going to be those 2 trenches right here. And then our team, it's these 2 trenches. I wanted to make the home base trench very easy to defend. So I'm thinking about maybe putting a little bunker like right there in that area, and then definitely like a bunker or something over there. So that way you have some sort of structure and your home base trench will be much easier to defend. Now this is something unfortunate over here because there is a like giant hill right here. So I think definitely the height is going to give that team an advantage here. So we're going to have to really make like awesome bunkers on this side. And I wonder if there's any, I don't know, I haven't looked at Flans mod too much, but it'd be definitely fun if we could get like some guns with like little bipods on them and like to set them down, and that way you can sort of, use heavy machine gunnery, at least at your home base, or maybe even in like the middle trenches. I don't know. It's just an idea. We do have all this like floating trees left. I'm going to be getting rid of everything that's floating. But I think I'm going to leave all the just like non-floating trees, because I think that'll give it a pretty cool look to just see a bunch of like, destroyed trees. This can also give you a little bit of cover. And then in the middle here, we have some barbed wire that I was playing with, and we don't know about that yet. I don't know if I want to, keep going with the barbed wire. This is two next to each other, and then this is just one by itself. I don't know, it looks kind of weird. It's just like iron bars, but then you can sort of design them with the chisel. Anyway, I am going to have to make a quick pit stop back at our house because we are all out of flint and steel, and we're also out of my atomic disassemblers. I made two because they get used up really quickly. Where am I going? I think this way is home. But I made two because I think they got used up really quickly. But we might even have to make a third. Like, geez, I literally built two trenches, and then boop, my pickaxes both broke. The cool thing about these pickaxes is that they run entirely on apple juice. They don't require really any other resources. All you gotta do is stand on this little charging pad right here, and they get charged all the way up, and they're brand new and good to use, which is pretty groovy smoothie. But yeah, that's not a joke, by the way. They actually do run entirely on apple juice. I don't really know how that's possible, but the way we're powering this station is we just put apples in these crushing factories, and then that gives us biofuel, and we put the biofuel in here, and that's how we get like all of our power. So hey, we're getting we're getting pickaxes running entirely on nothing but apple juice, which is pretty fun. Anyway, I believe we have everything we need. Oh, that's right, I have to grab some flint and steel, I believe. Do we actually have any flint? We should have plenty of flint. If not, we can always make, because we do have like, yeah, we can always make an infinite amount of flint, because we have all you gotta do is crush gravel, right? Just put, yeah, look at this. Oh, look at this flint. All you gotta do is put gravel in the purifying factory and you get flint. So we are good to go. I think I'm going to continue working on this trench map. I'm going to finish mining out all of the trenches and also clearing pretty much all the foliage. I should be able to finish it this time. And then, where am I going? I gotta exit. But once I do that, the next step is going to be to add in the mud, and we should be good to go. All right, so the map is starting to take shape. I'm starting to see some possibilities coming out here. And honestly, I'm really liking the look of the trenches right now. I think we got to extend those two a little bit just from looking at it for a second. But it's really looking good, especially over here on this side. This is what I've been working out. But I'm starting to notice we have a few too many trees in here. It's like really starting to look like a bunch of polka dots, which doesn't always look the best. So what I'm going to try to do here is I'm gonna clean out all the trees that are near any trenches. So if there's any trees near the trenches, we're gonna clear them out. I'm also going to clear out any floating trees. So if there's anything that's floating, like a bunch of these guys and everything, those are also going to get cleared out. And then that should leave us with only a few trees in the no man's land. And that way we can actually use them for cover, I'm thinking. And that way it actually, will help out any teams that are trying to cross from one trench to another. But I really like the look, especially of these trenches right here, how they're sort of swirled around. And that's what I've sort of been going for with everybody, sort of trying to swirl the trenches around and not just make them a straight line. And honestly, I think it's turning out pretty well. It's definitely looking a lot better than where we were at earlier in the episode. We used, this was so difficult over here because all of this area right here, this used to be a giant, what is this? This used to be like a giant canyon just going in. Yeah, look at this. Oh my gosh. So I went ahead and actually cleared up a lot of it, but there's just been a lot of dirt placing that I've been doing. You can't even really tell all the dirt placing right now. What is this little tree doing? But I've just been chopping down trees, replacing dirt, and doing a whole lot of that a whole lot of time. So it is quite time consuming, just chopping all these dirt down, but hopefully it'll be worth it because we'll be left with an awesome looking map in the end. Let's go ahead. I think if we just get rid of the wood, then the leaves will start evaporating on the ground. But yeah, there's like a giant just cavern right here. And oh my goodness, I had to cover it up. And unfortunately, it's sort of peeking into some of the trenches on the side. So we're going to have to sort of, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that yet. But hopefully we can just, I don't know, I'm hoping we can just sort of, you know, fill in the area that we need, that we're going to look at. And then everything else we can just leave empty. And then we'll never even really know it's here because it'll be filled in. Awesome, cool, hopefully that'll work out. And this map, by the way, when I first made it, I was thinking that we could possibly do some sort of idea where we can blow it up a little bit, and that way, like during the battle, we can actually use grenades and stuff like that, and we can sort of deal damage to the map. But now that I'm building it and I'm seeing how precise it really has to be, I think grenades would just absolutely destroy it. Like one grenade tossed in here could just like completely wreck a trench and not even make the map fun. So if we only want to play the map once, we could possibly use grenades and rocket launchers and everything that would explode the terrain. But definitely the first few times, at least while we're playing the map, we're going to keep it to where we can only use a couple different weapons, like weapons that it can't actually destroy anything. But anyway, I'm going to start clearing out a lot of these floating trees that are left around, but we are going to try to leave some of the just too tall ones that aren't close to trenches, and that way we can sort of use them for cover. I think that'd be a fun idea. Even just some of these one high tall, they might be nice. But anyway, yeah, it's coming together. We are almost done with the whole trench portion. I can't believe this is taking so long, but once we finish the trenches, then we can start adding in the mud. And then once the mud's in place, we can possibly start building a bunker or two, and we're definitely going to have to take a lot of moments to address the gameplay and sort of think about, okay, is this team going to be stronger, or is this team going to be stronger, and stuff like that, and try to fix up the trenches. I also went ahead and moved that trench back like 5 or 10 blocks. It used to be like right there, and then I filled it in. And then I moved it back a little bit. Okay, so I have been clearing out trees like crazy, and honestly we're not left with a whole lot left. There aren't a whole lot of trees that were really on the ground. Most of them were actually just floating in the air. I suppose we can go through and add in a couple here and there. I think that would look pretty nice. But yeah, I am really happy with how this project is going along. I spent a lot of time today working on just, I've just been clearing up a whole lot of ponds and lakes that have been here, and just like transforming the terrain and doing a whole bunch of just clearing up on everything. And honestly, it's looking pretty good. We're gonna have to go ahead and clear up that little pond over there as well. But allow me to show you guys a few of my ideas and things that we're working on. So this is going to be a problem right here. It's going to be a huge problem because this is somebody's spawn, and this whole game mode, it's supposed to be that your spawn is the easiest area to defend. So what that's going to mean, I think this should be a little bit higher right here, this little dirt thing in the middle. But what that should mean is the spawn has to be the easiest to defend, because, you know, that's going to be like where you run back to if you start losing the game. So that should be obviously the easiest place to defend, because it's sort of where you respawn at and stuff like that. So anyway, what we're going to have to do here is provide some opportunity for them to defend this much easier, because at the moment they're fighting uphill. They're fighting an uphill battle, and the enemy is going to have to jump on them. Like, it's going to be extremely hard. Is it nighttime again? Seriously, where's my sleeping bag? But yeah, we're going to have to especially add in a couple bunkers here. So the spawns, I was planning on adding a bunker on either side. But this side, we're going to have to add something extra special because they are fighting an uphill battle. So I was thinking, as you can see here, this trench is a extremely long trench. That's definitely going to give them an advantage because there's going to be a lot of places to hide. Or maybe it's even a disadvantage because there's a lot of opportunities to sneak around on the sides. But anyway, what my idea was, is you can see this back trench sort of runs into a little hill here. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to extend this trench underground. And then we can connect it up to sort of a ladder system, and the ladder will lead you up here. And then this is where we can place a bunker. And this would be great. Like, look at this sight line. This is amazing. And we could even make it like a tower a little bit. So that way you have like sights on the entire map. And maybe you can even get like a little sniper up here, and, you know, pick off people while your teammates are, you know, rushing up the left side or something like that. We can also go ahead and add in a few ladders on this hill because you're not going to be able to just jump up here. So maybe we can add in like a ladder right here, and that would let you climb up here and sort of take this trench easily. Also, we could even, this might be kind of interesting, but we can even do like a little bit of a tunnel that leads to like some other trench somewhere else on the map. So that way, if you really wanted to, you could do like a little bit of a flank and sort of go through that tunnel and then pop up behind the enemy team. That would be extremely interesting. I would really like that. So that's a fun idea. Something else that I've been thinking about with the trenches is we have to add some way for the... Okay, so right now the trenches, this isn't going to be useful at all at the current state, because right now you're sort of just walking in. You're just a sitting duck while you're sitting in these trenches. But what we're going to do is on the sides, we're going to add little areas that you can go up and then sort of have like cover a little bit. Maybe we can add a little bit of a cover like this. And then that way you can go up here and sort of have, you know, a nice spot to pick off enemies at. Especially this trench right here. We tried to do that when we originally started planning for this map. So you can come up here, and then you can have like pretty good sight lines on enemies, and then you can even pop out of the trench and try to do some shooting. Unfortunately, Minecraft's a little bit weird because we're just 2 blocks high, and we're not like any taller than that. So that means you can't really just peek your head out. You either have to peek up your whole upper body, and I'm trying to broadcast to Twitch, but you either peek up your whole upper body like this, or you don't peek up anything at all. So there isn't really a halfway point. Perhaps we could use half slabs. Are there, I believe for the mud, if we look at the mud, yeah, look at this, there's slab bricks. So maybe with the mud, we could do sort of a half slab right here. And that way, you know, you can sort of peek up a little bit of your head, and then that'll give you the advantage, hopefully. You're supposed to have an advantage when you're in your trench, rather than when you're out of the trench in no man's land. No man's land's supposed to be like the deadliest area where grenades are thrown and stuff like that. We're also I'm going to try to find, there's probably a lot of grenades in this mod pack, but we're going to try to find some sort of grenade that doesn't actually deal damage to the environment. So we want like something that isn't just going to blow up holes everywhere. And we did last episode or 2 episodes ago, when we first started making this map, and I proposed the idea and stuff, we went ahead and actually, we used some grenades here to actually like blow up little holes. And then that way we can like, I don't know, it just gives the map a feel like it's been used and stuff like that. Anyway, that is about all I have time for in today's episode. We got a whole lot of work done. I am so happy. I've just been working on this map for hours and hours, and it's finally starting to turn out something that's, it's looking pretty nice now. I was a little bit scared of the map when I originally got the idea, but right now it's looking really nice, especially the ideas that we have for a little bunker over there. And today was just the terrain forming day, so we got a lot of terrain done, and it's starting to turn out pretty nice. If you guys have any ideas for the map, please leave them down in the comments below. We're definitely going to have to add in a border. I'm probably going to do that off camera because that sounds really boring. But just around the entire map, we have to add some sort of fencing, or at least something to mark the outside borders to the map. That way we don't have people, doing crazy outside flanks or something like that, because that wouldn't be any fun. We want to sort of keep it nice and confined in the trenches. Another worry is that this trench is too far back, but hey, maybe that's even an advantage for this, because enemies usually, these trenches are sort of close together, so you can just sort of run through no man's land real quick and make it to the enemy trench. But over here, that's not really going to be able to happen, because it's such a long distance between this trench right here and this trench. So maybe that's another advantage for them, even though it's uphill a little bit. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how this map plays out. I wonder if it'll be exactly like trench warfare, where you know, you're having in your trench and you're having big battles, and then you get your team together and you all make a push at once and you take trench by trench. Or if it's just going, I really doubt that's gonna happen. You know, this is Minecraft, it's a little bit goofy, but it's still a fun idea. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed this episode. Next episode, I think my goal is going to be to actually finish the entire map. At least, you know, version 1.0 of it. And then as we play it a little bit more, we will definitely update it as it goes around. But the trenches, I want them to look a little bit more like this, to where you can sort of run up here and then peek out and sort of, you know, have little peek out points. And then I'm also thinking, you know, it's trenches right now, but it would be a lot of fun to add in a bunch of buildings. We talked about maybe like a house that's been destroyed that you can sort of run through somewhere, maybe even in the middle of the map. That would be really interesting, just so the map isn't as plain as a bunch of holes in the ground, because currently it's looking like a bunch of holes in the ground. It's pretty holes in the ground though. Trust me, it's put a lot of work into these holes in the ground. Trust me, I did it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. My name's Crew. Be sure to download the mod pack down in the description if you guys want to play it. It's a bunch of war-based mods, and you can have some fun with your friends, you know, battling it out. Other than that, my name's Crew. Hope you all have enjoyed, and yeah, I will see you all in the next episode of Minecraft Warism. Adios.